Ultimate Collectibles here with Wolverine weekend. We are doing a bunch of Wolverines this weekend. This is Wolverine episode 10. So if you like Wolverine pieces, check out my playlist of Wolverine statues. This is a licensed piece with a little bit of custom to it if you haven't noticed. So let's dive right in. Ultimate Collectibles here with Sideshow's Wolverine vs. Hulk Maquette. So a Maquette is a predetermined scale size where they can pretty much say it's any size they want. I think they were going for 1/5 on this. Sideshow was. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I've heard some people say 1/6. And it's a very, very cool piece. First of all, it's two of my favorite characters, two of a lot of people's favorite characters. The epic battle of Wolverine versus Hulk. I have another diorama with both of these in it, and I think I have 2 or 3 more on purchase order. I actually did not buy this one from Sideshow. I bought this one on eBay a long time ago, right when Sideshow released them. And I don't know why I did. It was stupid, but hey, I did. So there are a few quality issues with it from the shipping, but nothing horrible. And I'm noticing more. That's why I keep touching it. That's why I keep touching it. I didn't say it. As I continue to do this review. So by Sideshow, it fits in one box. The base is one piece. The logs, this front log comes out, I believe. Yeah, log comes out. Hulk is all one piece. Wolverine has his boot, one of his boots or 2 of his boots come off. I can't remember. One of his boots come off, and then his claws come off. And then there are 2 switch out heads. This is the exclusive version. So the first is the one you see here with the big fins, which is the one I like. And then the second one is the one here with the smaller fins. And I do apologize, I forget that Hulk's head is a separate piece as well, mostly connected by magnets. The magnet on my foot here or the peg is pretty loose. It's also been broken and I didn't notice it when it came. So this was back in my early days of statue collecting. But anyway, this is long sold out. I think you can get it for around $500 to $700 depending on what kind of deal you can get. One thing you may have noticed if you're familiar with this piece is Sideshow's Hulk is not green, is not gray, it's green. So this was repainted by a master painter for the simple reason Hulk, as being one of my other favorite characters, between what I currently own and what I have coming in are about 15 Hulks, and I like to mix it up. So that's why I had him repainted gray. Very happy with how it's come out, which we'll briefly look at the paint when we talk about paint and sculpt, but not into too much detail because this is a one-of-a-kind piece. So this is the coolest concept in design. It's Wolverine versus Hulk. How is that not cool? So first of all, they're in some type of mountainy, rocky, woody area, as you can tell by the base below. There's no vegetation or anything like that, which I don't know why Sideshow didn't decide to add it, but it looks good without it. And they've broken, Hulk's foot has smashed a tree in half, which is pretty cool. I think conceptually they were spot on as well with the size difference between the characters. Wolverine, as I discussed in my last Juggernaut, Iron Studios Juggernaut Wolverine review that's on here, is he's very small in the comics and Hulk is very big. So I think the scale is really good between them. I also like how they pulled it off on the design where Wolverine's kind of flying in the air like he just jumped on Hulk. Obviously he's sitting with a peg right there, but it doesn't look like it. So it looks very cool. I think one big miss on the concept and design on this is, depending on where the story is neither of them are injured. Now both of them heal very quickly, but Wolverine's clothing is intact. So maybe this is the beginning of the fight. If that is, then it makes sense. But there is no cuts, no blood, no nothing. So if this is the beginning of the fight, then they absolutely nailed it. If it's the middle of the fight, they forgot that they're probably hurting each other. The pose that they're in, dynamic pose, and I just love this. Wolverine just took a swipe at Hulk's head with his left arm. His right arm is jutted back to fire again, and Hulk as well, pretty much the same pose. His right arm, he missed a punch, and then his left arm is getting ready to attack Wolverine. And both their portraits really fit it as well, both sneering, both mad, both pissed. Very cool. So looking at the bottom, starting with the sculpt and paint, I really like it. I like the logs a lot better than I do the rocks. The rocks just look good. The log looks great, looks like a real log, not only along the grains of the tree, but where it's broken off. The rocks, there's a bunch of different colors in there, and it almost makes me think of, like, at least in the States, Arizona, Utah, kind of that red, light brown, sandy base. Some good definition and sculpt in there. And then moving up, focusing mainly on the sculpt of Hulk, the paint job is phenomenal, which it's going to speak for itself, the repaint that I had done, but as I said, it's a one-of-a-kind job. But tons of muscle in the Hulk, starting at the bottom where his giant feet are. And I really like the size of his feet, and then just his calves are overpowering. And obviously he was wearing jeans. The sculpt on the pants is amazing, and the paint job that my painter did, not my painter, I don't own him, but that the master painter did really is awesome on the jeans. But you can see the rips where Wolverine tore them apart. There's a lot of folds and tears in the jeans, and that just is complemented by the blue paint. And there's a few rips where his skin is even showing. And then you can see what's left of his white shirt just hanging below. And again, it's some rips. So obviously this is right after the transformation, and I absolutely love it. Bottom torso, his ass and below is great. I just said I liked Hulk's ass. Then Hulk's upper body, this is overdone on the sculpt, but I like it. He's way, I don't want to say Hulk is way too muscular, but he is, from his monstrous back to his biceps and his forearms and his, you can't see it very well, but his six-pack. They almost went overboard on this, but because it's Hulk, I think you can pull it off. It looks like he has muscle growing on top of muscle, almost tumors in a way, but I like it. Then Hulk's portrait, I also like this as well. First of all, they did a good job sculpting his hair. It almost looks like it's blowing in the wind in this epic battle that they're having, and you can see the different strands. Then his anger around his mouth, it's not full Hulk rage, it's just kind of I'm pissed and I'm coming after you, and they did good definition in all the lines to show that anger. And I like the sculpt in his mouth and his teeth, kind of knocks it out of the park. And one thing I didn't talk about were Hulk's hands. Very cool hands, almost as big as mine. I think the fingers seem a little short to me based on the palm, but that's neither here nor there, and you can only tell that on the open hand, of course. And then getting to Wolverine, and I just reviewed Iron Studios' Wolverine vs. Juggernaut. Way better Wolverine, even though it's not a great Wolverine here. First of all, his boots, very similar to the Iron Studios one, but there's a lot more paint in his boots. And just for the record, I did not have Wolverine repainted, just Hulk. But there's some good detail on the bottom of his treads, and some a little bit of folds in the boot, but it looks okay. And then they do have some texture on the costume of the yellow parts, which I do like. It's not overpowering, and they still were able to get some definition of his muscles and his thighs, and then showing some folds in the uniform with the sculpt, and then the seam line all the way up the back. So I like that. Then he has his classic underwear he's wearing on the outside. Looks good. Then moving up to Wolverine's torso, they did a great job. They overdid his muscles, which if you overdo Wolverine's muscles, I don't like it as much, both on his the front of his torso and then the back. It's almost overdone. The paint looks good on it, and then he has his classic black stripes on the side. His biceps look good. I wish they would have done a little bit more with the paint, but there is some good venation and some good musculature in there that's not quite overdone. I really like on his suit how you can tell he's turning his head, and they did a lot of folds and bends in the texture of the uniform right around his neck. And then his portrait, I like most of his portrait if you take his mouth out of the equation. I really like the cowl and the bends and folds right near his eyes, and then they have his classic white eyes when he's in rage mode. The tones on the open face, the pink fleshes, are okay. His teeth look really dirty. I don't picture Wolverine with teeth dirtier than Hulk. I'm not a fan of it. I also don't like how the lips come around it. So not a huge fan of his mouth, but the rest of his portrait is really cool. So that's a quick review on this. I'm sure there's plenty of them out there, not with a gray Hulk though, so I got you there. But that's the conclusion of Wolverine episode 10, and as I said, I think I buy a new Wolverine every other week. So, but very cool piece. I know it's sought after. I know the ES was pretty high. I can't remember how much, but it's in the thousands, I believe, between both the collectors and the exclusive version. So if you're a fan of both characters and you want to pick up this epic battle, I would go ahead and do so. I really appreciate you watching. I'm going to throw out quite a few reviews in the next few months, so I really appreciate it. If you liked it, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.